Oftentimes we do operations assessments for clients, and a big part of that is really assessing everything that happens in the restaurant. And one of the biggest costs of any restaurant is labor. If we can maximize those labor dollars and the people, we can have better service, lower costs, and better throughput, meaning getting food to the guests faster and more efficient.
Looking at, very small increments of time that you can save in labor dollars is more and more important.
Yeah, we'll look at labor sometimes in terms of efficiency on a cook's line of milliseconds of time.
Right.
If you can eliminate a motion and they make that motion 500 times a day, that adds up to a reasonable amount of time at the end of a shift. And one of the things that we do and we encourage our clients to do is conduct a time motion analysis. And watching how cooks work, and literally with a stopwatch, and as they're making a recipe, how much time do they take to measure ingredients, put product away, clean, portion a product. And we'll find that there are opportunities to save time. As an example, if you had a tool to measure something at the time of order versus putting 8 ounces of a product into a bag, that could save you minutes of time. And then those minutes again add up to a whole bunch of labor dollars.
It's a dual benefit. It's a platform for cross-training as well as a way to, optimize labor. And that's really something that can be done in the front of the house as well. A lot of times you'll, have a situation where you have to have a host or a hostess. That person has to be at the front door for the entirety of the shift because that is the best way to provide service to your guests. But what can you give that person to do that may save labor in another area?
There are basically 2 ways to increase productivity that I know of. One, you'd either take away time to do the same task or give them more tasks within the same period of time. Anybody can walk in and cut hours off a schedule. How do you do that efficiently without hurting the brand and hurting the service or the quality of the food or the throughput or the ticket time? That's a whole nother story.
Writing a schedule for based off of your sales forecast, allotting labor hours to those sales is certainly the basis for efficient labor.
And then what we always were taught and teach is fill in your busiest days first to make sure you have the best coverage to maximize your sales and your guest experience, and then allocate the rest of those hours over the rest of the week. And then after that, you have to really manage those hours every day to make sure that people are working the hours they were assigned.
One of the most important things when you're looking at management training when it comes to labor is that every manager in the restaurant can affect labor. If you have, let's say, a full-service restaurant, you may have a kitchen manager or a chef that really is in charge of managing food cost. The general manager is going to be in charge of, maintaining operational costs. But any shift leader or manager that is assigned to a shift in a restaurant can affect labor. That's something that I think that we can really help develop managers with training and coaching, is to teach them that skill. And also looking at the schedule ahead, looking at the schedule for tomorrow, looking at the schedule for the next day and weekly, and assessing where you already are, on your labor expenditures and making cuts based off of that.
A lot of managers think they can reduce labor by becoming an employee or becoming a server, as opposed to orchestrating a shift. And and we use the term aces in their places in the restaurant industry. Getting the right people in the right place at the right time, and then orchestrating and directing them versus doing and getting kind of caught in the thick of things really makes you a much more effective floor manager or shift manager. But another big part of labor, let me just get in, is this whole idea of size of menu complexity, number of recipes. And obviously the menu and how much you produce in-house is all relevant to the brand and what the goals of the brand are, and menu pricing and all those sorts of things. But oftentimes we recommend doing some research, a TURF analysis. TURF stands for Total Unrealized Reach and Frequency. And basically, in layman's terms, it's a consumer research study that determines the least number of menu items you need to have in order to maintain the same guest reach as you have. And we've done a lot of these studies over the years and found that you can eliminate pretty substantial numbers of menu items, which saves you inventory, recipes, labor, food waste, etc. And that can really be a major factor in optimizing your operation, and in particular, the labor.